Welcome to New Life Live with host and founder of New Life Ministries, Stephen Arterburn. New Life Live is dedicated to transforming lives one at a time, thanks to the giving hearts of you, our listeners. Our goal is to provide you with wisdom from God's Word to give you hope and help in life's hardest places. If you have a question you'd like to ask today, our phone lines are open. Call 1-800-229-3000. That number again is 1-800-229-3000. Now here's Steve.
Well, hello, everybody. It's not Steve, it's Becky Brown, and I am so glad that you have joined us today. And today is a special day. It's May 17th, and it is Clara Arterburn's 95th birthday. Steve's mom turned 95 today. She's one of our founding members of Club New Life and a great supporter of the ministry. And of course, she gave birth to Steve, and we can all be grateful for that. So we're celebrating Clara today, and she's just an amazing woman and full of wisdom, and just has spread her joy to so many people. And we just celebrate Clara today. And I know that you'll join us in saying happy birthday, Clara. And by we, I'm saying Dr. Jill Hubbard and Dr. Jacqui Mack-Harris, who is joining us.
To
Steve's
mom.
Yay. It's so incredible. You know, May is a busy month. We're celebrating mental health awareness, and we've been talking about that every day. But you know what? May is also military military appreciation support month. And so, you know, Jacqui, I am so grateful for the service you and your family have given to our country. But what are some ways that we can express appreciation to our military folks across the country? What would you suggest?
Well, one, just having an understanding of what they really do go through. Our military folks sacrifice more than their lives, right? That's the big thing we think of when they're sacrificing their lives, whether that is at war or just giving up their freedom really to go and serve in ways that most of us wouldn't consider something we'd want to do. So just respecting that and understanding that and giving them love and honor for doing that. It's costly. I mean, they don't make a lot of money. So a lot of our service members are living in poverty, and we don't talk about that. They give up their rights to their own choice of where they live and the kind of work that they do when they join the military. So there are some things just going in the military that can cause some mental health challenges beyond being in combat. So also understanding that just because someone didn't go to combat doesn't mean that they're not going to be struggling with some mental health issues. And so just not stigmatizing their struggle. Often we think of needing to get help as a weakness, right? If you're a good, tough, strong Marine, then you shouldn't have to talk to anyone. If you're a strong soldier, you shouldn't have to talk to anyone. And really, I think it takes strength to actually say, hey, I'm struggling. This is really hard. So if you know someone who's struggling, encourage them, check on them. Don't be afraid to ask the question, have you thought of hurting yourself? Have you thought of taking your life? Because often we won't bring it up because we're afraid we're going to put the idea in someone's head, but really you might be the person that actually lets someone know that they're seen and that they're known. So be willing to ask the question. When they come home from deployment, they can often feel out of place, like they don't fit. Give them space to be in that. Don't try to force them to be who they were when you last saw them. They're not. So you're going to have to let that go. They're not the same as they were before they left.
What a great way to just recognize what they are going through. I live in a military town. We have Air Force people all around us, and we're so grateful. And the military has even stepped up in offering counseling for their folks. And I would encourage you, if you're in the service or if you have served and you need help, do what Jacqui just said and ask for help. There are so many different programs, and I've worked with some of the folks that give that service, and it changes lives. And we celebrate our military. We're so grateful for all they do for us.
So definitely get the help you need.
Yeah, I love that. And we're taking calls today, 1-800-229-3000. We're going to take calls for a couple hours, and I just want to encourage you, if you're struggling with something, give us a call. We can help you get on your way to a better life, to clarity, and to support. And that's what we're here for. And so we really want to hear from you. Give us a call, 1-800-229-3000.
My husband was involved with pornography addiction. He was unfaithful. I called the wedding off. He stepped out on the marriage and ended up having a child.
The Restore Workshop is designed for a woman dealing with a man's sexual addiction issues.
My husband is a recovering sex addict. There were strip clubs, other ladies.
If you've been affected by betrayal, an emotional or physical affair, or pornography, the Restore Workshop will equip you with support and tools to help you through.
Restore has empowered me and has given me the tools to work through my anger, work through my pain, work through my confusion, and help me realize that I am worthy.
Being here and being surrounded by people who get it has given me my power back.
The Restore Workshop is coming to Dallas, Texas, July 15th through the 17th. To register or to find out more, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE or go online to newlife.com.
Thank you, Restore. You have changed my life forever.
To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Hello, welcome back. It's Becky Brown here with you today, along with Dr. Jacqui Mack-Harris and Dr. Jill Hubbard, and we're taking your calls 1-800-229-3000. But before we begin to take calls, I wanted to have Larry come in early on in the program just to kick us off. I mean, Larry, we got some exciting things going on and want other people to be aware of them. So why don't you share with the audience what we've got going on?
Well, it's still the matching gift. You know, it's a great thing that we had people donate $706,000, and it was their challenge to have our audience, our radio audience and friends match that. We've had $124,000 come in, so we're down to $582,000 and change for a match. So it's still there. Appreciate if you could make a gift towards that. I've been asked a couple of times, if I'm Club New Life, can I just have my Club New Life giving go to the match? And the answer is sorry, no. Mm-hmm. But you can make another gift. Some people choose to make a 13th gift. Instead of 12, they add another gift. Some people just make an extra gift, and we'd appreciate if you could do that. And if you're not Club New Life, join Club New Life. That would be a wonderful thing. With that's a very powerful tool in
it sustains us.
Yeah, it's something that we get to depend upon it. Mm-hmm. And while our faith is in God, He has provided this as a tool for us to count on it every month. Got a testimony for you. It's about radio. I love this. This lady was named Kathy. She said, "There's never a BS answer given. And everyone is so patient with even the most incoherent caller." Stop laughing, Becky. I know what you're thinking. I also like that no one person hogs the response, even when there are 4 of you, and instead, each purposely invites input from the other doctors. I've listened off and on for the past 10 years or so, discovering the program when I would be home more often than not during the 12 to 1 time period. She must be in the central time zone. With tears of gratitude for New Life and sadness for my past and lameness, I want you to know that you and your colleagues are appreciated, respected, and loved. I'm not where I want to be, but I've turned a major corner in my faith, trust, and confidence in God to complete my healing from the effects of childhood, emotional neglect, and in part to New Life so far. So you guys are making a difference. People are listening to you. Not like me. I ignore what you say.
Couldn't do it without you, Larry.
Oh,
That's right.
But it just can't speak highly enough. And I don't think people really, we always talk about the workshops and the counselors and the books, but we don't give enough attention and thanks and gratitude to you guys.
No, we're happy to be
it's
here.
a privilege to be here.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's right. That's right.
Absolutely.
And we're going to go ahead and do what we do, but I'm just so thankful that you started us off, Larry, and anybody who's listening, I want you to give to the match. It'll double your dollar, and it'll make such a difference in the lives of the folks that we serve, and we're grateful to do so. So with that, thanks, Larry. We're going to go to the calls, and we're going to start by talking with Donna, who's calling us from Jackson, Alabama, listens on WBHY. Hi, Donna. How can we help you today?
Hey, I appreciate you taking my call. I just got arrested for a DUI. I was struggling with a family member that had just passed away in a car wreck, and I did have a drink actually had a couple of drinks to calm my nerves down. I also take Xanax and stuff that I had taken it that morning, and I was so anxious. I did that, but it was before I got pulled over with a headlight out. It had been a while since I had had the drink, but my husband and I just switched places, and he did a field sobriety test, and he said I failed that, and then did a breathalyzer, and it was a .11, and I got arrested on my birthday and spent the whole weekend in jail. And I'm just devastated about it. I'm embarrassed, ashamed, and I was wondering if there's anything I can do. I'm not ever going to drink again because it's all or nothing. I just need to not drink at all, nothing at all. And I wonder what I could do with this just anxiety I've had all my life. But when something is really bad going on, I have to deal with it, just with I don't want to do just prescription medication because that's not helping me. And so I just am very anxious, always have been.
Yeah, well, Donna, what a perfect storm. I mean, here, having lost someone, which would, and you're already anxious, that would really up your level of emotion and feeling and anxiety. And I'm so sorry that this happened to you. But if we think about even the bad things that happen to us in life, like God doesn't waste. He really uses that. And I know people can say, what about all the people that drive drunk all the time and never get caught? But there's a reason why God stopped you, right? Or that officer.
For a reason.
Yes, it happened for a reason. And this can be a time, I know it feels shameful, but I think by turning your shame into investing in relationship and places of healing, I think this can be a really pivotal time for you. So it's not just about not drinking and finding another substitute. I'm wondering about relationship in your life and why that isn't a source of comfort or soothing for you.
My husband is struggling with drug addiction. And he also drinks some, and I can't really talk to him about that, and I just worry about him all the time, and he's wanting to go to check in and go to rehab. It's just money wise, we can't afford it right now, and but that's what he said he needs, to just check in somewhere.
Well,
and also my parents, my mom, just so many people have had, my mom's had a stroke, and it's just, my sister's going through it. Everybody's going through a lot, and it's I don't want to tell them my problems, and, I don't know how to deal with anxiety. I don't know if I tell people my problems, I actually get more anxious as I'm telling them
Donna,
what's going on with me.
Donna, have you ever worked with a therapist?
I have.
What was that experience like?
I had one good therapist that he ended up moving probably because of me, because I feel like I'm crazy. But he gave me some good advice, and he diagnosed me with ADD, and I'd also get teased a lot about not being able to pay attention, or like they say, squirrel or whatever. And I just get teased a lot about being ditzy, and not being able to concentrate and finish a story, or not talk loud enough, and I'm just really insecure. And but he gave me a book on ADD, and it helped me, a little bit. But it's just it's
a lot. Yeah. It's a lot, Donna, and you're not crazy. And so I know that that's the self-talk that you have. All of us kind of we feel for you, because those kind of thoughts, when you're feeling all of that anxiety and you're dealing with all of these things in life, can cause more anxiety. I'd like to hear, Jacqui or Jill, what would you suggest for Donna to do, to deal with all of this?
A few things. One, Donna, I mean, first of all, the anxiety and the ADD often go hand in hand, and sometimes it's hard to know which is primary, because anxiety can mimic ADD and ADD can produce anxiety. And one thing with ADD, because your brain is not neurotypical, it can feel like, why can't I do these simple things that everybody else can do? Or why can't I stay on top of things? So there's a constant bombardment of negative self-talk and feeling bad about yourself and feeling like somehow you're just not good enough.
And then add in all the comments from others who think it's funny. So let me just say ADHD is a superpower. So when they yell squirrel or they tease you, they don't understand your brain, but the problem is you don't understand your brain. You're able to do and take in so much more than a neurotypical person, and that's why you're not always paying attention to the thing they want you to pay attention to, because you're paying attention to everything. It's harder for us to focus in, zero in on one particular thing that matters to that other person. Right, because if it's not important to you, it's hard to focus on. So I think that having a therapist that specializes in ADD and ADHD could be really helpful for you. And I agree with what you said, Jill. Sometimes, especially with women, we get misdiagnosed with the anxiety or the ADHD. And in your case, it might be that it's ADHD and you've been self-medicating the ADHD, and that's caused you some anxiety and maybe even some social anxiety, hence the drinking while you're out celebrating for your birthday, just so you can relax enough to have a good time.
Which that, in terms
I didn't celebrate anything. It was alone, and I usually do it alone, and then I don't end up, I do nothing around the house, and it's just like, then I feel ashamed of that, and I just have a lot of shame for not being able to do anything. I don't know where to start.
So here's the other thing. I hear that your family, everybody in your family is really overwhelmed. And this is the incubator that you grew up in, where everybody has their own anxiety and has a hard time coping. So sometimes our family is not the place where we can go for comfort and soothing. So this is why the 12-step movement has been so effective, because everybody who goes to those meetings is struggling. Right? And you don't have to have the same social rules that you have if you're at church or at a party, right? Where you can't really overshare. In these meetings, you get to share about your experience and you get to hear other people. And so you kind of cut through and get right to the meat of things quicker. And I think with the DUI, I think there's a number of meetings that could be helpful. And that's a place where you can go and again, like I said, share and listen and feel some relief because you're not alone. And it's a place, because we have to, in order to heal our shame, we have to bring it into relationship. So that means we have to find a safe place to admit it and allow other people to love on us and to react to us in a way that's different than how you react to yourself. Because you just keep heaping on more and more piles of shame onto yourself. I can just hear it in you.
So the first step would be what you're suggesting, Jill, is to find a group, and we can help you with that.
I mean, it Donna, could be AA, it could be Al-Anon, it could be CODA, like any group.
All three of those.
Yeah. Right, and it could be Life Recovery. We've got those folks as well. But I also think what Jacqui has suggested, Donna, to get with a therapist and begin the process. A third thing that I would suggest is to help your husband get help. We have connections with treatment centers all across the country, and we can help him walk through that process. And that can be overwhelming when everything else is going on, but there's lots going on. So we want to get to all of those things. Joe, what were you going to say?
Well, and I know that you brought up the issue of expense. If you talk to different treatment centers, they have ways of either financing, or there are programs that are lower cost.
Right.
Some have sponsors. Some have
Right.
sponsors, and so they might even be able to scholarship them.
Right. So stay on the line, and we're gonna connect you with one of those. I'm gonna send you a Life Recovery Bible, Donna. I think that if you will work through the devotionals and the steps in there as you get connected with a group, you're gonna be shocked at what a difference it's gonna make. We're continuing to take calls, and we are going to take your calls at 1-800-229-3000. Maybe you are struggling with stuff in your family that's overwhelming you today, and you just don't know how to address it. Maybe it's something that, you feel like there is no hope, but I want to remind you there's always hope. And the hardest thing that you'll have to do is to pick up the phone and call us, 1-800-229-3000. There is help. We can get you where you need to go, and all it takes is for you to give us a call. We'll be right back.
It had become very apparent that some of the things I was involved with were taking over my life.
In today's world, men are barraged with inappropriate content and images all day, every day. Some say that certain behaviors are just no big deal. It's just part of being a guy. But it's simply not true. It's a battleground for every man, and the opportunities to fail are everywhere. New Life's Every Man's Battle Workshop can help.
After 7 years, just one weekend, a completely changed man.
For over 20 years, New Life Ministries has been helping men regain their integrity and purity through their one-of-a-kind Every Man's Battle Workshop.
He said, I think this is something that every man should go to. Married, dating, it was definitely life-changing.
Now the workshop is coming to Indianapolis June 10th through the 12th. Don't wait for him to call. To find out more, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE or go to newlife.com. 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Hi, this is Steve Arterburn, and for 30 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
Your ministry has saved my life.
If you struggle with emotional hurt, family or marriage problems, the pit of depression, or the pain of addictions, we can help.
I'm down 100 pounds now from what I was.
You guys are awesome. You are a blessing to America.
Our treatment programs provide clinically appropriate solutions from licensed professionals, all in a biblical framework.
I have had problems with alcohol. I think God has ordained this place to be His.
You don't have to be a prisoner of your pain. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
She tells me that I'm a new man, and I feel like a new man.
It worked for me, and it can work for them too.
This time it is different.
If you're ready to take the first step toward genuine spiritual and emotional healing, please call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. God can open the door to a better tomorrow right now. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433.
We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question or a comment, call toll-free 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live. This is Terry McIntosh, and May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and I want to remind you that taking care of your mental health is as important as eating healthy, exercising, or even saving for the future. To help you manage your mental health and to better understand those with struggles, we're featuring a sale on a variety of books, CDs, and devotions all month long. Visit our online store at newlife.com to shop the sale.
I am so excited about that sale, because every book on that list could help somebody. And if you are struggling with anything, that's a great resource for you. I also wanted to say that during the month of May, for a gift of any amount, it's going to be doubled because it's part of the match. But we also have 100 Days of Freedom from Anger. It's a beautiful blue book. You can see it on YouTube if you're watching there. But I had the privilege of helping Steve with this devotional, and there are great scriptures, great quotes, and a great understanding of what drives that anger. And I was joking yesterday, when he first asked me to help, I was kind of mad about having to work on a book. No, I'm just teasing. Get it? But then after I worked on it, I got free of my anger. It's all good.
And Becky, I think books are great middle of the night therapy. You wake up in the middle of the night, you're stressed out. I have found that to be so helpful. That's when I do the most reading, right?
That's
Waking up in the middle of the night and you can't call anyone. What are you going to do? You pray, but you read something and it helps to hold you.
Yeah. I love that idea. Thanks, Jill. Well, now we're going to go back to the calls, and we're continuing to take calls at 1-800-229-3000. But right now we're going to talk to Connie, who's calling us from Flint, Michigan. And we're so glad you did. Connie, how can we help you today?
Okay, my daughter is 50. She's special ed. She's had COVID. She had a seizure. She went to the hospital, and now she's in rehab. Well, the rehab guy yesterday comes in and asks her questions that she's got the mind of like an 8 or 10-year-old. They come in and ask her, who's the president and where are you at and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, what? I said, I'm her guardian. So then he said, well, she's got sundown, because I was telling him she gets anxiety because when I'm leaving, I'm usually leaving when it's starting to get dusk, and she sees the sky. And if it looks like dusk, she knows it's time for mama. She starts getting real agitated. A couple people in here said they think it's bipolar. She has always had bipolar symptoms, having little temper things when she couldn't go with me or didn't get her way. Okay, I want to know. Now they're telling me sundown is a dementia. I want to know what you think. And what should I do? Who should I consult?
So what's the problem here? What are you struggling with? When they say she has dementia, does it mean it breaks your heart?
Yeah, it breaks my heart that she carries on when I leave her.
Okay, so the behavior may look like sundowners, which is what happens with people with dementia. The sun starts to go down, they get a bit agitated, and the way you described your experience with your daughter makes sense even for dementia, right? They know it's getting later, they know that something's going to change. The people who care for them all day are about to go away, and that's upsetting. And so she sounds like she's developmentally delayed or disabled. Is that accurate?
Correct.
Okay, and so
and
does her physical therapy and occupational therapy there at the rehab understand that? Do they have that information?
What information?
That she's developmentally delayed. Because I'm wondering if.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
so,
I tell them that. But the guy that came in is just asking some questions like they asked my brother when he had mental breakdown or whatever he had.
Yeah.
She has always had the bipolar actions for years. But we never dealt with it, you know what I mean? Because it wasn't a lot, so I just dealt, you know what I mean? I didn't go try to get her help.
Okay.
But 2 or 3 people in here said she's probably got bipolar. When this one guy pops up, because I told him when I'm getting ready to leave, well, like it was in the afternoon the other day, it started getting cloudy. She was thinking, uh-oh, it's getting late. My mom's going to leave. That's when she starts having radical fits.
Well,
I'm going to leave her.
What I used to work in elder care, and I've always struggled with this, so I'm struggling with the statement because it's a rational response when you're in a foreign place and you are confused and people are doing things to you. It is a rational response to be upset about that. But because she's hospitalized, she's developmentally delayed, she may have some dementia. Maybe it's as a result of this infection and the seizures that might be causing her to have more.
Or any medication.
So her cognition might be off because of everything she's been going through. So her reaction is she's upset.
Well, and you're her main attachment here. And you have been very involved in her life. So when you leave, it's probably frightening for her. She feels secure when you're there.
So it's not something wrong with her that she gets upset.
Yeah.
So is there a way? There's not a problem that she gets upset. That's normal. I think we would all get upset if we were in a scary place and our person who keeps us safe leaves us. However, there needs to be
12 days. She never had a fit because I didn't leave her. I stayed right there with her.
Well, and Connie, I hear too that it's hard for you, that you feel anxious about all these new people coming in and making all these random diagnoses, and it's very confusing, right? And you've been the one that's had a pulse on her, and you're managing.
Right, and getting them to hear you is probably hard as well.
Yeah.
Well, you can hear the music, Connie. We'll come back after the break, but this is a really stressful thing to manage and to try to communicate what the needs are of your daughter while entrusting her care to them. And I love what you said, Jacqui, that it is a rational response to get upset. And I think that's where we can help your daughter and help you in the time that she's in this care facility. You know, we appreciate the help that people offer, but sometimes it can get a little off base. We'll be right back.
For most of my life, I've been dealing with an opiate addiction.
Why is opioid addiction quickly becoming one of our nation's biggest killers? Maybe it's because it isn't only those who are addicted who are in denial.
We did what I see so many parents do, is it can't be an addiction. There's something medically wrong.
It's impossible to solve a problem when you don't know what you're up against, and families will try to find any explanation except the one that will put them on the right path.
Alcoholism and drug addiction is a family disease. It doesn't affect just the individual.
If someone you love is abusing painkillers, know what you're up against. It's time to admit it's addiction and seek treatment. Call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We have Christ-centered partner treatment centers around the country. Call 1-800-639-5433 or visit us online at newlife.com.
We just made a decision. We will do whatever it takes.
1-800-NEW-LIFE.
I was really living a very anxiety-filled life. I turned on New Life, and the topic that day was about anxiety. And just by listening, I got relief.
You can help New Life stay on the air by joining Club New Life today. When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, we'll send you the new member thank you gift of the Life Recovery Bible personal size, the 1-year Life Recovery Prayer Devotional, the New Life Journal, a New Life pen and highlighter, and a New Life zipper tote to hold it all. Plus, there are ongoing benefits like access to the Club New Life video library, the monthly Club New Life CD or download, quarterly resources, free shipping on purchased resources, and discounts on workshops. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. Support Club New Life, and together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places. Call 1-800-639-5433 to join Club New Life today. We're glad you joined us for New Life Live. To be a part of the program, call 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back. Yes, we are going to continue to take your calls at 1-800-229-3000, but right now we're finishing our conversation with Connie, whose adult daughter is in a care facility, and it's causing all kinds of distress when it's time for Connie to go home. And Jill and Jackie, I know you guys had some really great steps for Connie to take as these days continue for her daughter.
So Connie, I think that with all these added diagnoses from all these new people that are working with your daughter, I think you can just kind of take those as those are hypotheses, right? And that something to be checked out once she leaves this environment to see, do these symptoms persist, and to run by her primary doctors that know her and have worked with her long term. I think for you and for her, helping her to transition as you're leaving, right? Reminding her that you have to go home to sleep, but that you'll be back, and this is what time you'll be back. And making sure that you talk about that so that you're not just abruptly leaving, kind of prepare her that you're leaving, but it's a short time and that you always come back.
If she were a preschooler, you would do this, right?
Yes.
You would, Mom has to leave, I have to go to work, I'll be back at 5 o'clock, and then you come back at 5 o'clock and she realizes, oh, that's true. So the next day when you drop her off and you say you'll be back at 5 o'clock, she knows she can trust that. So start having conversations with her as it's getting to be that time. That way there's no sneaking out, there's no panic. This is normal. This is our routine. Mom comes when visiting hours start in the morning, and Mom leaves at the end of the day, and she comes back again, and she can trust that, and that will give her a little more security, but also maybe alleviate some of your anxiety, because as you're feeling anxious about having to leave her, that is, she's vibing with that too. She's experiencing that alongside
That's
of you.
good. That's good. Connie, we're going to send you a copy of the book I did with Steve, Understanding and Loving a Person with Bipolar Disorder. Now, it may help with some of these things that you've been seeing in your daughter, but it also is going to help you as you create these connections with her and to support you along the way. And we're so glad you called. Right now, we're going to go to Sarah, who's calling us from Temple, Texas, listens on KBBW. Hi, Sarah. We're glad you called. How can we help you today?
Hi, thank you for taking my call. I don't regularly listen. I just happened to get into my car when I heard you telling the person before, Connie, something about a family member with alcoholism. And so I'm calling because I have a brother who is 45. He's married. He has 6 kids. He farms and raises sheep, and he has been a functioning alcoholic now for 3 years. We knew he struggled in the past, but we didn't know that it was to this extent. And now it's starting to come out, and it's been really hard. His wife finally told me about it because she's almost at her wit's end. She's almost at the end of her rope. He has some underlying anger issues, and he has some deep-seated hurts and wounds that cause him to be mean and hurtful. And so I don't know what to do. Me and my sister both had a conference call last night. We don't know what to do, but we want to help. We are Bible-believing, God-fearing people who want to do the right thing by our brother, and he's hurting his family. We're to the point where we want to go get his wife and his children and just take them out of there and let him get to his end, and we don't know what to do. So that's why I called.
Well, we're so glad you did, Sarah. It's so hard when you see a family member struggling and you're close, and it sounds like you and your sister are ready to do something dramatic, and sometimes it does take that. Jackie, Jill, where would you start with Sarah, and what could be some steps that she can take?
Sarah, I love that you care so much about your brother, and that you're not just siding with your brother, you're seeing his whole family, because they are a part of your family, and that you're wanting to help your sister-in-law, ultimately help your brother in this. I don't know how close you live to them. Have you been there in person? Or are you at a distance?
I'm an 8-hour drive away.
Okay.
Well, I'm 8 hours, but I actually drove there to confront him in love, confront him and speak to him about it about 3 or 4 weeks ago. He needed surgery on his shoulder, and he couldn't get surgery because his liver enzymes were too high. So he quit drinking for 3 weeks and said he could do it on his own. He didn't need any help. He doesn't want any help. And he said, I can do this. I know the right thing to do. And so he quit for 3 weeks. He got shoulder surgery, and now he needs 12 weeks of recovery for that. But he made it one day, and I know that and that's it. That's it. So I have spoken to him once in person, and I am willing to go again.
Well, and sometimes
I'm willing to go again.
Yeah, I think sometimes, and maybe you and your sister, or if there's any other family members, could go and have a conversation with him, because now you've got some data, right? He said he could do it. He did it for a purpose, but once that purpose was removed, right, he couldn't last.
Right.
Right, and he's gone back to the drinking. And I think sometimes, we talk about the idea of intervention, but there's all kinds of mini interventions you can also do. And you always start out with how much you love and care about the person, right? And so you say some good things about them, and then you let them know how their drinking is impacting you, right? So it's impacting you. And and as you're watching his family, you're seeing the impact on them. And then it's what you're prepared to do, right? You invite them to get some help. Brother, you've done it on your own before. I know you can do it again, but I don't know that you can sustain it by yourself. What are you willing to do? Because now we have the data. We can see that you weren't able to sustain it.
And your
Well,
sister-in-law.
it's like he needs it. Oh, go ahead, Jackie.
Your sister-in-law reaching out, she's crying out for help too. So maybe do you guys have access in your area or their area? You said he's a farmer, but could she get to a Al-Anon meeting? Could she join some support for herself in this process? And that way maybe she can start to connect with some resources to help her after you've left. Because I agree with Jill. I think being able to show up in love and share how this experience is impacting the family, but also his children, his wife, I think that's an important conversation. But on the other side of that conversation, his wife and kids are going to need some support.
Right. Well, and I was thinking too, Jackie, if you think about this, Sarah, he needs a new purpose. He chose the surgery for a purpose to quit drinking. and he was successful, just like you said.
Well, he
Jill,
couldn't get
the
what he
data.
wanted unless he...
Exactly. So that's where we start to draw these boundaries. Now, the challenge will be to help him figure out what his real purpose is in life, and it's to be a father to these 6 kids, to be a husband, to be a man of worth, right? You know, he doesn't want to drink his life away, or we don't want him to. And I don't know, we'll connect you with some folks that will help you find some support in that area. We're also going to send you a copy of the Life Recovery Bible, which has all the 12 steps and devotionals, and it can help you, Sarah, as you help him. You know, we talk about Al-Anon and we talk about codependency, and not that you're in that, but we are affected when people that we love are using alcohol or drugs, and it impacts us. And you're feeling that right now, Sarah. And so I think that can also be a good path forward. Any last comments?
It would be great
Jacqui or Jill?
if maybe you found some meetings in their area when you were there and you took your sister-in-law to a meeting.
There you go.
I think that would be really
And then
helpful.
also in this conversation that you have with your brother, I just keep hearing he's a farmer in my head. And it's been a rough 3 years. You said you guys have known he's been an alcoholic for 3 years. Well, for the past 3 years, we've been in a pandemic, and lots of people have been drinking a whole lot more than they normally would have. And a lot of people have been under extreme amounts of stress. How is his farm doing? How is business going? What are his fears right now? Why is he drinking so much? And why is he so angry? And why is all of that coming out right now? I think in the conversation, let him know that you care about those things too, and that he can be open and honest. So often men are keeping it all inside because they don't want to burden their women in their lives, and there is this expectation that as the head, that's how things should be. But he's very alone in whatever his pain is, and I would say he needs someone to talk to about that.
Yeah, really, really good point. To be able to lean into him first and connect with him and really try to hear and see it from his point of view instead of you're just doing this wrong behavior.
Right.
Yep. Well, Sarah, we're so glad that you happened to tune in today. And I know that even in your struggle, you've helped somebody who's listening as well, just like what you heard when you tuned in. And we'll be praying for your brother. We'll be praying for your family. We're going to send you the Life Recovery Bible, and we'll get you connected with the folks that we have in that area where your brother lives. You know, that's what New Life exists for, is to help people find help, to resource them with books and counselors. We have workshops. You know, you hear us say it all the time, but I think sometimes we suffer in silence, and we can offer you a way out so that you can find a whole new life, to coin a phrase. I mean, you know, it has worked for so many people over 34 years, and I just want to encourage you, if you're struggling, give us a call. We'll be right back.
I came into this thinking that my husband was the cause of many of our issues.
The New Life Intimacy and Marriage Workshop is coming to Washington, D.C. July 22nd to the 24th.
But after learning about our attachment styles, I understood how our past hurts were playing into our present problems.
Join Steve Arterburn.
It's been a dream of mine for a long time to help people to grow more intimately together, and we believe that everybody has room to grow in the intimacy level of their life.
And Milan and Kay Yurkovich.
We help couples understand how their attachment style is sabotaging their current relationship. And then we teach them how to create comfort in a relationship.
And New Life's group counselors will help you focus on the area that will benefit your marriage most. To register or to find out more, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Here at this workshop, we had our first ever conversation without yelling, blaming, and accusing.
1-800-NEW-LIFE. Chris Williams on coaching.
Oftentimes I get asked, what is the difference between therapy and coaching? The biggest difference between the two is that a therapist is going to be looking for a diagnosable mental health condition, whereas a coach is going to look at a particular issue and help a person work through that.
If you need a coach, call New Life today and ask about the New Life Coaching Network. Our coaches have been trained and screened with the same intensive process we use for our network counselors.
If you're looking at an issue in your life that you just kind of want to change, whether it be your weight or leadership or other areas of behavioral patterns, check out coaching. There can be some really, really helpful things for you.
Take control of your life and take action to achieve your goals. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433 and talk to us about getting a new life coach. 1-800-NEW-LIFE. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back. We are continuing to take your calls for the next hour, 1-800-229-3000. If you're on the line, please hold, because we are going to get to your call. I don't want to lose you, and I know that we can help you, but right now we're going to take Bob's call. He's calling us from Whittier, California. It's his first time calling, and we're so glad you did. Bob, how can we help you today?
Well, I just called to tell you that we just had Every Man's Battle in Orange County, and it was fantastic. We had 48 new guys and about 17 alumni, and I was
wonderful.
Listening to the lady that was speaking before me, and her brother's drinking. He's covering up what he's really hurt. The hurt is deep, and Every Man's Battle can bring that out. And I would see if he could get to the one, maybe, I don't know where their farm is, but they've got one next month in Indianapolis. Larry can, let you guys know where the rest of them are.
Great idea.
But because he's got deep wounds, and he's not going to talk. He will not talk to family. He's been hurt by family or somebody, and he is going to take that to his grave. I mean,
Bob,
when I was molested.
Yeah.
Go ahead. That's what I was going to ask you.
Nobody was going to pull that out of me until I went to Every Man's Battle.
Wow.
And
what was it like when you went there? Because a lot of men don't know what to expect when they go to Every Man's Battle.
We're scared. Who are these guys? I don't know these guys. And then when we go to our first, eat lunch with them, and then you have a welcome, and JJ does a wonderful job of welcoming people, and then we break out with our counselors, and they're New Life counselors, and it's unbelievable. You can open up, it's in a shame-free zone, and everybody is, it's wonderful. I mean, you're able to talk to strangers because they know what you're going through. They know exactly what you're going through, and they were going to do the same. They're not talking, but God brings down the barriers through this, through Every Man's Battle, because we all battle something, and his drinking is covering up, and the anger. I had seething anger. I was molested by a teenager at 5 and 6 years old, and New Life. Saved my bacon. Let me tell you, the book Every Man's Battle, Every Young Man's Battle, fantastic. I would recommend it to everybody. They need to give it to their sons and give it to their husbands because everybody's hiding something.
So, Bob, you struggled with this for how long after experiencing victimization? When did you know that you needed to go to Every Man's Battle? Like how many years after the first impact?
About 50, 60. I'm 73.
Right.
Oh, wow. Well, it's never too late to get that help, right?
Oh, never too late, because God is the God of miracles.
Yeah.
He will change your life. He said, you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. You never think you can get free of whatever the torment is, whatever has got you to the point of maybe even suicide. Everybody thinks of that. And I have a friend that's a fireman, and he was able to share it. Larry called him and brought him in, and he was going to commit suicide 12, 15 years ago. He had it all planned out where he was going to crash his truck, and two other guys said that they were going to do the same thing. Two younger guys.
Wow.
Hey, Becky.
As alumni.
Hey, Becky.
Pardon?
Yes.
I just want to join in here. I was there with Bob this weekend. Bob is a terrific guy. He's one of the best ambassadors for New Life you'd ever want to know.
We're hearing that, Larry.
Next to you, Becky. Yeah. But I just wanted to thank him for making this call. It's very meaningful for somebody to hear what you've spoken. And
especially what I just heard this last lady and her brother. It's just teared me up because I know what he's going through. He is afraid. He is scared. And Larry, if they get him to go, I will fly to Indianapolis and meet him if he goes.
Okay, we need to call Sarah
We'll
back.
see what we can do.
If we can reach Sarah.
Yeah, and I love, Bob, that you're bringing up the point that it's so much about hiding and shame. And I've always said that every man's battle is beyond the sexual addiction issues, right?
Yeah, it is.
That it's much broader.
Oh, yes.
But,
The impact.
But the man that he talked about that we brought in, that I invited in, that he was going to commit suicide a few years ago, and on Saturday morning, he was ministering to these men in that group. It was unbelievable.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, Bob, I think one of the challenges that we always have is we know the good that can come from going to every man's battle. And you made a choice when you could have said, you know what, I've lived this long, I'm just going to ignore it and just go on, you know, and be miserable. But you made the choice to make a change. And now you've become an ambassador because you know what freedom is like. So for the men who are listening today, who are thinking, you know, I'm not that bad, or I can just push it away with work or with porn or with affairs. What is your message to them, Bob, so that they would join us at Every Man's Battle in Indianapolis in June?
Well, they are suffering now. The family ends up suffering. And that's what he doesn't want to happen. But they end up the victims. But he needs to go because God will do the miracle in his life. It is not an easy one and done. I mean, I asked this friend of mine in 2014, and so he had me get the Every Man's Battle book, and I read it, and I thought, oh my gosh, this is fantastic. And then he said, okay, you got to go to the workshop. So I went to the workshop in February of 2015 in Fremont, and I've been going to as many as or Zooms as I can, and they're now meeting in February at OC, and they met in May, and then next month in Indianapolis. So, sir, if you are hurting and you are desperate, be there at Every Man's Battle next month at Indianapolis, because you will not be disappointed. I guarantee you.
Bob said an important.
Have a new life.
Bob said an important thing. He said God will show up. He'll do the work. But it requires you guys to take that first step and make the appointment. I stand at the door and typically greet every guy that comes through, and I tell them, you've done the hardest part. You've showed up. It's all okay from here.
Amen.
Well, Bob, you have blessed us all today with the hope that God offers us a new life. And you are an example. Your testimony is encouraging others to just question, you know, what have I done that I haven't, you know, reached out for help. And I just want to encourage all of you listeners, you know, whether it's Every Man's Battle or whether it's our Intimacy and Marriage Workshop, which, you know, you think, well, why would a marriage workshop be so life-changing? Let me tell you, marriage is a long time. I mean, for some of us.
Long time.
And when you can find that great connection, it is amazing how different your life is. And I know that we've seen so many couples through the years that have just experienced radical transformation. And we're going to be in Washington, D.C. in July. Our Restore workshop for women who've experienced sexual betrayal with their husband or their boyfriend in the past, their fathers. It wrecks them. And they need that support, they need that help, they need that understanding, that connection. And we want to encourage, if you have experienced that, give us a call. The Restore Workshop will change everything for you. And, you know, we're here for you because we know that there is hope on the other side of that struggle. And we love to hear testimonies like Bob's. I'm so grateful for all that New Life has done for my life, and just, you know, I know that there is help. So if you're holding on, you can hold on for the next hour, but if you need help, call us at 800-NEW-LIFE, and we'll get you connected. Thank you, Jacqui, and thank you, Jill, and thank you, Larry. You all made a difference in my life, and I know the callers and the listeners are all just blessed by you all, and I just am so grateful for all of you.
Thank you,
We'll
Becky.
see you next time, and hold on. We're going to be right with you on those calls. 1-800-229-3000.
Thanks for listening. We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you, but you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433, or write to us at New Life Ministries, P.O. Box 1029, Lake Forest, California, 92609. Please join us again tomorrow for New Life Live.
Hi, thank you for watching New Life Live. You know, New Life Live is a Christian counseling program where we deal with the hard questions about life, relationships, kids, free choice, freedom of will, whatever. It's all right there on New Life Live every day, every weekday, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. If you want to call into the live broadcast, you can find the schedule on newlife.com or click the social media link right below. You can see every episode of New Life Live on the New Life YouTube channel. Watch it with a friend, watch it later. Be sure to subscribe and hit that bell so you'll never miss another episode. So if you want to listen on the go, download the app. The link is right below. And I hope if you need some information, if you want to get some help, you'll call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. And I'll see you next time.